Hey there, it's that time of the week again to quench your thirst for all things UNLV athletics. So sit back and enjoy the refreshments. It's game on, and it starts right now. Welcome to Game On. I'm Austin Ennie.
And I'm his running mate, Marcus Paff. You know, for most of us, a night in the bowling lanes means pizza, beverages, and the high hopes of breaking 150. And for me, at least, the first strike of the night is guaranteed to bring on a quote from a movie like The Big Lebowski or Kingpin. I'm just cheesy like that. But for some other folks here at UNLV, a trip to the lanes comes with much higher expectations. Justin Fuller has more with his look at the UNLV bowling team.
It's not March Madness yet, but UNLV has already punched a ticket to the tournament. To the bowling tournament, that is.
During the end of the year, and we fought through the year and got sectionals.
Congrats to the UNLV men's bowling team for qualifying to compete in this year's sectional for the Intercollegiate Team Championship. With one of them held here in Las Vegas, Rebels also gain a home lane advantage.
Last couple years we went to Dallas, and you fly there, so you're tired. You have the time change, which is bad. But here you can relax, like you don't have to travel anywhere. You can stay in your own bed. It's just a much more relaxing feeling than having to travel across country to do it.
19 other teams will also compete in this particular sectional. Schools such as San Jose State and nationally second-ranked Wichita State. But UNLV is excited and is ready for the challenge.
We're ending this year and going into the postseason with the nuclear group that is needed, and to move forward into nationals. A couple of my friends that are graduating this semester, it's that they get to do, they have one more go at making nationals before they leave. So I'm excited for me, but I'm more excited for my peers.
We're a fun, joking team, but when it comes time to bowl, all seriousness is taken. We all bring something different to the table. We all are good at one thing, and that's what makes us a team.
The Las Vegas sectional will be held at Texas Station on March 9th and 10th. Best of luck to the team. For Game On, this is Justin Fuller.
Hey, great stuff, Justin. If you'd like to know more about the UNLV bowling team, check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/UNLV bowling team. But from lane oil patterns to fly patterns, that is bowling to football we go. Did you see what I did there? Austin's standing by with former NFL safety and now Faith Lutheran head coach Vernon Fox and principal Scott Fogo. Guys?
Thanks, Marcus. Yes, joined by Faith Lutheran head football coach Vernon Fox and principal Scott Fogo. Vernon, first question to you. Obviously, big congratulations. What made you choose Faith Lutheran to come aboard here?
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Austin. It's an honor to be here sitting in this position. But when it comes down to the decision to move forward and taking the job to be the coach at Faith Lutheran, I think it's a unique situation, unlike any others. I've had opportunities to coach in the past, but when you talk about a school that stands for what they stand for and having an opportunity to come in an impactful situation where I can not only affect the lives of young men athletically, but even spiritually, that's important to me.
Obviously, the big thing there also is spirituality. Scott, question, we'll reverse it. What made Vernon so valuable to Faith Lutheran, and why did you hire him?
Well, we did a big nationwide search, and we're just so happy to find kind of a hometown hero a little bit in our backyard here. Well, he stands for our mission and our vision and our core values of our school, and so we're a very academic school. And we're a school that really believes in our Christian mission, and Vernon really does those things well. He's an academic All-American, so he understands what it means to be a student athlete. And he's competitive. He does a lot of little things right, and every time I've talked to him since the day I met him, it builds more confidence that he's the perfect head coach for our school.
What other core values do you guys have, obviously, besides religion there?
It's basically, we want to be really strong in character development and service, and then really strong academically. We want to be excellent academically, and then we want to be really good at all those other things too. So we don't think you need to separate excellence in sports or excellence in the arts for being a Christian or for being really strong academically. We believe that we could be the best at all those things, and this is a quest for us to get better. Vernon's a huge part of that.
Vernon, obviously playing experience in the NFL. How is it going to translate to a head coaching opportunity? What are you going to do to build this team?
I think when you think about, or personally, when I think about what kind of made me the player that I was, much of that came from the coaches that I had. And so I understand coming in that the identity that I have as a coach will indirectly affect, all of the players that are around me. And so when I consider how I want to, go about building this program, and they already have something great,
Right.
There's a foundation that's been put in place, and so I can just come and, put my own personal touch to that. But I kind of want to build it around 4 pillars, and that's character, integrity, accountability, and excellence. And it's something that, goes right in line with the mission of the school.
Great, obviously, points there with your 4 pillars. What mindset do you have coming into this? What are you thinking about? How do you think it's going to go?
Initially, I think they've had a little bit of struggles, and I want to come in and right away I want to attack the mindset of the young men. I want to build an expectancy to win. Every time we step out on the field, we would like to win every game that we play. And I want them to have that type of mentality. I want them to understand that we're going to be a hard-nosed team. We're going to play until the whistle, and we're going to run around, and we'll have some fun in the process. But at the same time, I think they brought me in because they want to have an interest in getting in a better position to be successful. And so certainly I want to do the same thing.
Perfect. Well, Vernon, congrats to you, and thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us. Scott, thank
Thanks,
you
Austin.
also as well. Shifting gears now from football to basketball, Game On's own Jordan Harrison takes a look at a certain game that got the men's basketball team back on track after a tough few losses.
With much-needed wins over New Mexico and San Diego State, the Rebels found momentum just in time as they prepared to close the season out strong before the Mountain West Conference tournament. Big win on Saturday against San Diego State. Is that the kind of win that can turn the season around for you guys?
Yeah, definitely a really big win. Just kind of in the stretch that we're in, we kind of need that momentum going forward. We got about 6 more games left, and we really need to win them all to have a chance of winning the Mountain West Conference Championship.
It was terrific. We were coming off a difficult performance at Air Force where we just didn't play very good basketball. And we were excited about our performance and our effort, particularly in the second half on our home floor. We've now beaten San Diego State 3 times, and they're a great program. And so it's always good to be able to play well in front of our home fans and give our crowd a ton of credit. The student section, the Rebellion was fantastic in providing a great atmosphere.
A big win, so we just got to, keep that momentum moving. And, we had a big win against New Mexico and lost to Air Force. And so now we picked back up another big win. We just got to carry the momentum into the rest of the season.
If the Rebels can keep up their consistent play, they'll be able to make a lot of noise in this year's tournament.
Well, it starts in practice, and that's just to stay on them, to demand perfection, make sure that they're doing the right thing and be in the right place, and throughout the practice, just make sure they stay consistent in practice also.
I just think the formula is the same, whether we're at home, whether we're on the road. It's about playing good, solid defense, about doing a great job on the defensive boards, and then sharing the ball on the offensive end.
The Rebels have 2 games left before the tournament begins March 12th. For Game On, this is Jordan Harrison.
Thank you, Jordan. Now, Marcus, obviously a huge facet of the game, like they said, was momentum. Bringing it into the tournament here. What are they going to have to do to come away with a victory?
Yeah, well, the package talked about it. Picking up a couple of big wins at home can do a lot for your confidence as you head towards March. And it's cliche to say, but you really want to be playing your best basketball going into the conference tournament and then into that, hopefully, NCAA tournament. So for UNLV, it's important to keep up the energy and continue to just play good basketball. Wins and losses should take care of themselves if they're able to do that.
Perfect. Obviously a much-needed hopefully first-round win in the Mountain West Tournament. Time for a quick break, but when we get back, Marcus sits down with UNLV Senior Associate Athletic Director DJ Allen. Stay tuned.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
What you doing, Dad?
My favorite thing.
Really, Dad? What are you doing?
Paying bills. Every month a stack of them come, just as regular as the rain.
What's this one?
That's a special one, son. I pay it first.
How come?
It's money for my retirement account. I put some money aside each month just like I was paying a bill.
Wouldn't you rather buy something?
I don't want to work forever, and I don't want you to have to support me in my old age. In a way, I'm buying peace of mind. I'm on the installment plan.
Something's not right.
My first symptoms were
constant tingling in my toes.
Double vision. They said you have multiple sclerosis.
Kind of had to get a grasp on reality.
I had to adapt and change very rapidly.
I had to learn how to drive with my hands. Yeah, that was interesting.
A symptom may cause you not to be able to do that anymore. And at one point, I wasn't able to do any of those.
Since I've been cycling, it's definitely helped my walking.
It's a fantastic opportunity to be working together with a common goal of curing MS, and sharing is the key.
Welcome back into Game On. I'm Marcus Paff, sitting down now with Senior Associate Athletic Director for Communications, DJ Allen. DJ, thanks for being here today.
Oh, I love being here. Anytime anybody wants to talk about the Rebels, I'm ready.
Absolutely, and I know you, and I know that to be a fact. So let's dive right into it today. Talk to me a little bit about the value of athletics, not only here on campus, but within Las Vegas and the entire country.
Well, if you look at athletics at a university like UNLV, it's such an important part of the marketing of a university. At UNLV, we like to say that it's really the front porch to the university. And a lot of people who might have moved to Las Vegas, we know there's a ton of people who moved to Las Vegas, maybe the place that they get introduced to UNLV, the school, is actually through athletics. And we understand the popularity of Runnin' Rebel basketball. I mean, it's one of the top attended college basketball teams in Division I in the nation. We're in the top 15. But people may learn a little bit about UNLV from basketball, but we need to teach them more about the university.
So it's really your biggest advertisement, not only for athletics, but for the institution as a whole.
Absolutely, and I think it's important that people know that we take that seriously in athletics. We want to introduce people to the great university that exists at UNLV. Myself, I got my undergrad and my graduate here at UNLV, so I know what type of education is available here, but a lot of people don't know that. So we take it very seriously that we want to be out there, and while we're ambassadors for the Rebels and for the athletic programs, it's much more important than that. We're ambassadors for the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Let's talk about that a little bit. You're in the trenches, so to speak, day in and day out in athletics. 17 varsity sports here on campus, and you're in charge of making sure all of them get some love and are shown, just showing how important they are to this university. Talk to me a little bit about the challenges of that. Again, that's a large number of sports, and then maybe a little bit about what's most rewarding when you do see that payoff.
Well, when you talk about 17 programs, again, a lot of people like to think about the top one or two, and they always look at maybe football and men's basketball and women's basketball because they see that with the national media. But we have over 450 student athletes in over 17 programs. We just recently won a conference championship in men's swimming. Those student athletes represent what is right about college students. They're hard workers, not only in the pool or on the court or on the field, but in the classroom. Of our student athletes, 54% of them have above a grade point average of 3.0.
That's astounding.
And I think a lot of people don't think about that and realize that. In fact, the average grade point average for all of our student athletes is a 2.99. I mean, it's almost, the average is almost a 3.0. So we understand, the NCAA says it in a commercial, but it's more than just a marketing campaign. Only a few percentage of these student athletes are going to go on and earn a career doing what they're doing. We're trying to grow them athletically, obviously, they're student athletes, but more importantly, we're trying to grow them academically and socially, and that's the most rewarding thing. We just had a young man who finished up his football career and graduated, and being able to have a connection in the community and find him a job. His first career. Now he's starting and moving forward, and to have the employer come back a week later and said, DJ, if you have any more Rebels like that, please send them our way.
That's fantastic, DJ. Just a few seconds left here in the segment. I want to talk a little bit about Scarlet Gray every day, because I know that's really taken on a life of its own, not only within athletics, but around the campus and in the city of Las Vegas. Where did that idea come from, and how do you hope the public takes that? What do you hope it conveys to the fans and the alums here in Las Vegas?
Well, we have about 65,000 alums who live here in town, and it's about pride. It's about understanding that if you graduated from UNLV, if you're a fan of UNLV, if you're a supporter of UNLV, have pride. And every single day you can live the scarlet and gray. Just like our athletes put on a uniform, CPAs in town, people working in our hotels, people working in banks, they wear the scarlet and gray every day.
That says it all. Well, DJ, again, I want to thank you for being here today on the program. As always, an important part here on campus. I have to step aside for a quick break, but when we come back, more of Game On.
You could choose to join a gang. You could try the latest drugs. You could even choose to drop out of school. You can try to avoid the difficulties in life with a quick fix, or you can face them head on. She did. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
This martial art has its history from African slavery and has an integration of musical instruments, singing and dancing. This is the Brazilian martial art of capoeira. When the Portuguese colonized Brazil, they brought slaves from Africa. The slaves then brought their culture, religion, and also their martial art, known as capoeira. Capoeira became a Brazilian martial art but still maintained a heavy African influence. In its formation during colonial times, slaves disguised it to look like a dance, so slave owners couldn't tell that they were learning how to fight and defend themselves, as well as ensure African traditions would survive under harsh slavery. This is footage from the Capoeira Manjenga Club at the Cambridge Recreational Center here in Las Vegas. The main difference between capoeira and other martial arts is in the rank system. It's chords rather than belts. Music and singing is played in a group circle known as a roda, where capoeira students can play with each other and show the moves and techniques they have learned in training. Another reason why capoeira is a unique martial art is in addition to learning movements, you must learn the different instruments, how to sing the Portuguese language, and adding energy to the mood and pace of the song. You must attack and defend on your own free will. All moves are legal. Many people see the mechanics of capoeira as having a close resemblance to the same moves found in hip-hop breakdancing. For more information on capoeira here in Las Vegas, visit capoeiralasvegas.com. And with that, we welcome you back into the studio. Sitting down with me now is UNLV student and two-time champion off-road racer, Bree Bradley. Bree, thanks so much for being in the studio with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about how you got involved in racing, because women in racing has to be unique. How did you get involved?
I'm actually a third-generation racer. My grandfather started in 1976 with one of the first Baja 1000s. And then my dad's been racing for about 35 years, and now me and my brother are kind of taking over. So.
And what's your favorite part about racing?
The endurance. I mean, I'm constantly having to keep up with my fitness and the psychological aspect of it. It's also a lot to deal with, so it's just kind of a mixture of everything. You have to be good mind, physically, emotionally, everything.
Emotionally now we have to cue you up because we have some pictures that we want to share with you of you and the family. Let's take a look behind me here. Now this first one, you and the family. Describe the whole racing family, the Bree Bradley, how you became who you are today.
The first picture, it's actually of my father. He is a 5-time champion at Crandon. And me and my brother, I believe I was 6 or 7 in the picture. And, you know, it's a great aspect. It's a family-oriented sport. It's always been about family. And as much as it's about winning, it's about keeping all of us together. We always say a family that races together stays together. And that's kind of our thing together. So. Now, the second and the third that we have is before, basically, and after of your car, your vehicle that you race. Correct. Talk about it before, and then what went into painting everything and redesigning it later on. I actually recently bought that car about a year ago. And my first time driving it, it was a complete new experience for me. It had new aspects to it, a turning brake, a faster motor, higher speed transmission, things like that. So it was a learning curve for me. And then once I got it, a couple people actually approached me and said, you know, you being a female in off-road racing, it'd be wonderful if you could paint your car pink for me, because more people, you know, girls are more marketable in off-road racing. You guys look better on camera, supposedly. So I got together with my brother and I decided, I'm going to paint my car pink. You're going to paint your car red. It's going to be different for us, but we're going with it. So it took me about 3 months to get the car totally painted and to a pink color, and I'm still kind of getting used to it. People look at you like, oh, you're a princess. You're driving pink. When in reality, it's all for marketing. It's for sponsorship and things like that. So.
Last thing I have for you, Mint 400 is coming up. You're a past champion. Tell me about it. What it is, when is it?
The Mint 400 is the greatest off-road race in America, actually, right now. And it's been around since a long time, 70s, 80s. And I'm the youngest female to ever win it. It's coming up. I'm actually taking a step back from it this year. I'm going to do more of the media aspect of it instead of racing myself. But it'll be down on Fremont in March. People should come down and watch and things like that. And
perfect. Well, thank you, Bree, so much for joining us in the studio. Time now for a quick break, but when we come back, it's this week's Player of the Week and a look at upcoming sporting events around UNLV. Stay tuned.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults 15 to 29. And one person dies from melanoma every hour. It's time. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Welcome back to Game On. You know, the women's volleyball team had an amazing year in 2012. The team actually held on to first place in the Mountain West for a good portion of the season, and they did it with leadership at the top. Of course, second-year UNLV head coach Cindy Frederick had a lot to do with that, but on the court, it was the play of several young women that made all the difference. Honey Love has more on this edition of Players of the Week.
UNLV's women's volleyball team had 4 students named to the Fall 2012 Academic Mountain West team. The Rebel quartet of players includes, for the second time each, sophomore Allison Davies and junior Stephanie Thielen. For her third straight year, junior Madeline Westman and first-time honoree sophomore Caitlin Winters. The ladies were major contributors to their team, finishing the season with an 18-11 overall record and 10 wins and 6 losses in the league, which is the team's most conference wins since 2007, securing them with the third-place finish in the Mountain West Conference. Dominating on the court as well as in the classroom, these stellar athletes also managed to maintain a cumulative grade point average of 3.0 or higher. Allison Davies, Stephanie Thielen, Madeline Westman, and Caitlin Winters, you are Game On's Players of the Week.
Thank you, Honey, and congrats to all the women for being this week's Player of the Week. Now, it's that time of the show where we take a look at what's coming in the world of UNLV athletics. We start in the Thomas & Mack Center, where the Runnin' Rebels will try to win the Mountain West Tournament for the first time since 2008. Games will happen March 12th, 13th, 15th, and 16th. The Lady Rebels will also play host in the Women's Mountain West Tournament at the Thomas & Mack Center. Games will be happening March 12th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. The baseball team will be hitting the diamond starting March 12th at CSU Bakersfield for a one-night stand at 6 p.m. They will then come home for a 3-game series against in-conference rival New Mexico from March 15th through the 17th. Then they will play 1 game against the Cougars of BYU on March 18th. The softball team will be doing a little bit of traveling to sunny San Diego, playing 2 doubleheaders and 1 game in San Diego Classic. 2 on March 15th, and they will play UT Arlington and Marist at 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. On the 16th, the ladies will play Bryant University and Buffalo on 9 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Then they will wrap it up against the Minute Women of Massachusetts at 9 a.m. on the 17th. The track and field team will be in action March 15th and 16th, hosting the UNLV Invitational. The time is still to be announced. From the track to the pool, the men's swimming, fresh from their conference title victory, will look to make strides in the NCAA Men's Championship from March 28th through the 30th. The event will happen all day. From the water to the hard court, the women's tennis team will play against some tough non-conference competition on March 12th. The Rebels will play against the Cougars of Washington State at 10 a.m. And on March 13th, the ladies will play host to the Seminoles of Florida State, also at 10 a.m. The men's tennis team will play host to a doubleheader on March 25th. Their two opponents are the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah and Idaho State. The match against SUU will happen at 10 a.m. while the match from the visitors will be up north at 2 p.m. Time for a quick break, but when we get back, our final thoughts and we wrap up this week's show. Stay tuned.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Winston, just one more inning, Grandma.
Ever notice how many things today kids can do without actually moving? A whole lot of things their parents used to do the hard way. So many kids' activities today seem to leave out the activity part, which makes exercise even more important for children. In fact, new research tells us the best time to enhance bone development is during childhood and adolescence. And just getting children to walk an extra 35 minutes a day could spare them the pain of thinning bones later in life. Healthy bones come from healthy habits. Encourage your kids to get up, get out, and get moving.
Hello.
Hey, Grandma, how about another grape soda?
A public service message on building strong bones for kids from the Pediatric Orthopedic Society of North America and the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
Welcome back from Game On. Now, Marcus, obviously a lot of events coming up this weekend. Mountain West Tournament, what are you going to check out?
Yeah, absolutely. The Mountain West Tournament's going on. That's going to be a big deal here on campus. It is every year. And
right.
You know, if you're a UNLV fan, be sure to get out there because these other teams are sending a lot of fans to Las Vegas to root on their squads. We want to be represented in full force as well.
Yeah, exactly. Teams like San Diego State, New Mexico, you know they travel well.
They travel very well, and they are very loud inside the Thomas & Mack. Got to keep up that home court advantage. It's here in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that does it for this week's episode of Game On. If you want to catch up on previous episodes of Game On, go to our website, unlvtv.unlv.edu. I'm Austin Nenny.
And I'm Marcus Paff saying thanks for spending some time with us. Hope to see you here back next week on Game On. Have a good one, Las Vegas.